Good afternoon or good evening or good morning, whenever it is for you. For me, it's a very rainy, wet but humid afternoon. We've got cloud here, but it's sort of, mixed weather. This video is a little bit different. It's a little bit of a mixture. So I want to talk about some of the things you need to remember when you move in house. Obviously, that's on my mind. You know, if you've watched me before, that I'm moving. If you haven't watched me before, then welcome. You've caught me in the middle of a house move. And whilst I normally make videos about budgeting and frugal living and going shopping, at the moment I'm just absorbed and consumed with this moving house idea. I'm going to talk to you about some of the things you need to remember when you move in, but I'm also going to talk to you from the heart, emotionally, about some of the things that have been happening to me, and hopefully you'll be able to relate to that. I'm trying to be very real. I've spent a long time on this channel trying to do things because people have told me that that's what you're supposed to do on YouTube, but actually I've decided I'm going to do something different, and I'm just going to be me. If you like it, hey, come along for the ride. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. You can go off and watch other people. We're all different, aren't we? Anyway, I'm trying to show up and be real. The only thing that might not be real about me is I have got a wig on. My hair's growing back in after I had cancer treatment, but it's not quite how I would want it. So you might see me sometimes with the wig and you might see me sometimes without. Never mind. Let us get into talking about moving house. First thing I want to talk about is the emotional and stressful aspect to it. Now, I wanted to move, absolutely. So it took me a while to find somewhere to move to for various reasons. But it has also come very quickly, all of a sudden. So it just sort of feels like you go for weeks and weeks and weeks or months without having the property that you want. And then all of a sudden you get offered something. And it's just like a race, an absolute race to get there and to get it all done. That the impact of that is very stressful. So I'm now a week away from moving. I'm still working full time. I'm not able to take any leave until a couple of days before I move, which has provided me or given me a lot of stress. And I think to the point that it sort of impacted on my health and well-being. Yesterday I wasn't very well, and it was probably all to do with the stress of moving. So please, when you plan a move, try to plan it with lots of forethought. Try to think about planning time off from work, downtime. Try to get your boxes packed really early. I did try all of that, but actually it just didn't work out that way for me. I had various things going on. I'm trying to move in the middle of recovery from cancer treatment, and I get days where I'm just so fatigued that I just can't do it. So I am sitting amongst a pile of boxes and there's stuff everywhere and trying to do all the jobs when I get a day where I've got energy. However, for yourself, if you are moving, please make sure you do some planning as best you can, and planning when you're going to have your jobs done and all of those things. I want to talk to you a little bit about the jobs you need to do. I have got a list, so bear with me. It just helps me remember if I just pick the list up. I'm not going to read directly off it, but I am just going to sort of refer to it. For me, when I move, there are 4 major jobs or 4 major categories. So those are, might sound a bit strange, making sure the walls are okay. So I don't know whether you hang pictures or whatever, or you might have knocked something on the wall if you're moving furniture about. I'm going to go around and make sure there are no nasty holes in the walls, fill them with a little bit of filler and pop a bit of paint on if I can find some, and just give them a bit of a sand down as well. Not all over, just looking for those little spots. So that's a really important thing for me. Being in a tenancy I've got to make sure that everything is okay, everything is how I found it. I'd say also do a check on things like carpets. Now I'm not going to, because these carpets needed to be renewed when I moved in. There's an iron burn or something in one of these carpets under my coffee table, and I've not taken responsibility for that because I was there before I moved in. So any damage to this carpet, which there isn't, but any perceived damage is not my responsibility. But check for yours if you are moving. The next big job is packing, obviously packing everything up. So I use boxes, I also use bags, and I've got a number of strategies that I use, and I've shared some of those in another video, which I will link at the end of this one. And I've got some more strategies to share as I go forward at the weekend on my main packing week. Then there's cleaning, so making sure that I've got the toilets clean, the baths clean. I want it all gleaming and sparkling, but I also want it hoovered right through. I want the oven cleaned, and I want all of the paintwork washed down. So they're the major jobs for me in terms of cleaning, but I can do that once I've moved. Fortunately for me, I get my keys to my new place on one day, and then I don't hand these keys in till about 4 or 5 days later. So I'm going to actually come back to the house and clean once I've moved out, and I think that makes more sense. I've got to do things like clean the fridge as well, so I'm currently defrosting the fridge that belongs to this flat. My fridge is being sort of decommissioned gradually until the day I move. It's a fridge freezer, and I'm taking that with me. And then the final job that I want to talk about is your life admin. So let me just go through the things that you need to do when you move, because if you forget to do these, you're going to end up you're not struggling with the move necessarily, but you struggle after the move. So these are things like redirecting your mail and telling everybody that you need to tell that you've got a new address. So the first thing to do is to do a mail redirect. Now if you're in the UK, easy enough, you go online and you find Royal Mail and you fill in a form to redirect your mail. It cost me £61 for about 6 months. Well worth the money, because if you've forgotten to tell anybody that you're moving and they send you a letter, it automatically gets rerouted to your new address, which is a real safeguard, I think. So that's the first thing to do, and I've done that. Set up your new payments. So if it's a mortgage, that will all be done through your solicitors, no doubt, and your bank. But for me, I'm a renter, so I'm going to have to set up my new direct debit with my new landlord and cancel my old one. So that's on my list to do. I need to think about my home contents insurance and renew that, and also my car insurance. And then I need to think about my gas, electricity and my internet. So I'm going to ring my current provider and tell them I'm moving and ask them to support me with that. They were very good last time. A bit of a shameless plug, I don't get anything from this, but I use Utility Warehouse, and they absolutely supported me wholeheartedly through my last move. I couldn't fault them. I didn't have to do anything. I rang them and told them, and everything was done. I didn't have any surprising bills or anything like that. We were just good. So that's what I'm going to do. Some address changes you want to think about. So your bank, or banks if you've got more than one bank, and any credit card companies that you use, you need to tell them that you're moving, and that gets your cards and everything put into the right address, so that when you buy anything with your card, there's nothing going amiss. You want to think about your healthcare, so your doctors. Do you need to change doctors? Do you need a new dentist, which is really difficult to get? Fortunately, my dentist is in the town where I'm moving to. And eye care, if you have eye care or the regular health care, you need to get all those changed over, or at least tell the care provider where you're moving to, so you've got the new address. You may need to tell the NHS in general, not just your doctors. So if you've got care and treatment ongoing, you will want to tell them that you've changed your address. and you may even need to change some of your services, although if you're not going too far, they may just be able to keep your services where they are. And you need to tell work, so if you do work, you will need to tell your employer that you've changed your address. That's really important. And I'm sure there are other things that I've forgotten about, but that's why I do the mail redirect, because I think if I've forgotten about anyone, you know, that will be picked up by mail redirect, and I'll be able to change that address just as soon as I can. So that's me done. That's my little video for this time. I hope you found that useful. I'm just from here on in just going to kind of post whenever I can. Hopefully you'll see bits of the move. I can't wait to show you my new house, although I'm not sure how much of that you'll see. I'll decide on the day whether I share everything or whether I just share the rooms I'm going to be working in. Might keep my living room just for myself, don't know. Anyway, it has been lovely having you with me. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope to see you in another video sometime. Bye.